James had always been a hopeless romantic, the kind of guy who believed in love at first sight and grand gestures. Growing up, he watched countless of rom-coms and believed that one day he would find his perfect match just like in the movies. His friends teased him for his optimism, but James never gave up on the idea that true love was out there for him. In his early 20s, James fell for Clara, a woman with a radiant smile and a carefree attitude. She was everything he thought he wanted: fun, spontaneous, and full of life. They spent long nights talking about their dreams, their future, and what love meant to them. James was certain Clara was the one. But as with all his past relationships, there was a twist he didn't see coming. One Saturday, James decided to surprise Clara with a romantic brunch. He planned everything: flowers, her favorite pastries, even a love letter. When he arrived at her apartment, bouquet in hand, he noticed another car in the driveway. Shrugging it off, he knocked on the door, only to be greeted by Clara, wrapped in someone else's arms. A heartbroken James. Clara, what's going on? Clara's eyes were wide open. She froze. James, it's not what it looks like. James said with his voice trembling. It's exactly what it looks like. That was the beginning of a series of heartbreaks for James. After Clara, there was Angela. She was sweet, thoughtful, and seemed perfect for him. James fell hard and fast. They had deep conversations about life, went on weekend getaways, and for a brief moment, James believed he had finally found this person. But like a cruel twist of fate, Angela's love wasn't exclusive. She was juggling relationships, and James was just another option. Angela got defensive when she was caught. James is not serious with the others. You are the one I care about. A disillusioned James, if I'm the one, why are there others? James wasn't one to give up easily. But after Angela, something inside him changed. He became wary, always questioning the intentions of the women he met. The carefree, optimistic lover he once was had been replaced by someone who doubted the idea of true love. Every relationship after Angela felt like a test, with James constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Reflecting on the situation and speaking to a friend at the bar, James said, I have tried everything, man. I've given love my all: honesty, loyalty, commitment, and each time I'm left looking like a fool. His friend nodding sympathetically. Maybe it's time to stop looking for love in the same places. Maybe the type of woman you are going after isn't the one for you. That was when the idea hit James. Maybe his problem wasn't love itself, but the type of women he had been dating. All the single girls he had been with were young, carefree, and in his view, irresponsible. He started thinking, what if I date someone with real life experience? Someone who has been through the ups and downs of life? A single mother. She would understand responsibility. She has been tested by life and wouldn't have time for games. This thought gave James a sense of hope. He convinced himself that a single mother would be different, and that's when Lydia entered his life. But as James would soon discover, life had one more lesson in love waiting for him. On a Sunday morning, James sits quietly in the back row trying to blend in. He has a somewhat anxious expression, glancing around at the congregation. The sound of lively music fills the air as people gather, exchanging smiles and hugs. James said, I can do this. Just another Sunday. No pressure. I'm not here to find love, just here for peace. As the service begins, James notices a beautiful woman walking, holding the hand of a little boy. She has a radiant smile and an aura of confidence that draws his attention. She walks to the front row, a son bouncing beside her. James thought, who is she? She is stunning. There's something different about her. She looks grounded. As the service continues, James couldn't help but still glances at Lydia and her son. He watches as she kneels down to talk to the boy, a face full of warmth and patience. Lydia softly said to her son, now, remember to listen during the sermon, okay? We are here to learn and grow. James admires how she engages with her son, her voice soothing and nurturing. The sermon progresses, but James finds it hard to focus. He is captivated by this woman. James thought she seemed so composed. It's like she has her life together. I need to talk to her after the service. When the service ended, James gathered the courage. He watches as Lydia stands up chatting with other parents. He takes a deep breath, mustering the confidence to approach her. James nervously approached her and said, hi, I'm James. I've seen you around. You have a lovely family. Lydia turned with a warm smile. Hi, James. Yes, I remember you. You usually sit at the back, right? A surprised James said, yes, that's me. I guess I'm a bit shy. Lydia said, no need to be shy. It's nice to finally meet you. They both share a laugh, and James feels a wave of relief. The conversation flows naturally as they exchange pleasantries about the sermon and their experiences at church. James said, I really enjoyed the message today. It's always nice to find a place that feels like home. Lydia nodded. I agree. It's comforting to be around people who share similar values. Plus, it's great for my son to be around good influences. James' heart races as he listens to her talk about her son. He feels an instant connection. James said, this is it. She's different. She's a mother, and she seems so real and genuine. Gathering his courage. Would you maybe want to do dinner sometime? I would like to hear more about your experiences. Lydia said, I would like that. Let's exchange numbers. They exchanged contact information, and as they chat more, James found himself completely engrossed in their conversation. He feels a sense of hope growing inside him, something he hadn't felt for long. As they wrap up their conversation, James feels he had made a genuine connection. He walks away, his heart lighter than it had been in years. Maybe this time things will be different. Maybe Lydia is the one I've been searching for, James thought. Lydia's past is one of strength and resilience, shaped by experiences that forced her to grow up quickly and take on more responsibilities than she ever expected. Her journey as a single mother of 3 children, all from the same man, Femi, is one filled with emotional highs and deep lows. Lydia grew up in a modest household where family values were strongly emphasized. She has always dreamt of having her own family one day, a stable home filled with love and laughter. Her early 20s were full of hope, and she was excited for the future. That is when she met Femi. Femi was charismatic, confident, and everything Lydia wanted in a man. He was a few years older, already working in a stable job, and seemed like someone who had his life together. They met at a friend's party, and the chemistry was instant. Lydia was smitten by Femi's charm and the way he made her feel special. As their relationship grew, she became convinced that he was the one. They talked about the future, about marriage and having children together. Femi made her believe that they were on the same page, and Lydia felt secure in the relationship. When Lydia found out she was pregnant with their first child, Abel, she was both excited and nervous. She thought that this was the next step in solidifying their bond. Femi seemed thrilled at the news at first, but as her pregnancy progressed, she began to notice small changes in him. He became less available, claiming work was more demanding. Still, Lydia convinced herself that it was just the stress of preparing for fatherhood. Abel's birth was a joyous occasion, and for a brief moment, it felt like things were falling into place. Femi was there for the early milestones, doting on their son, but soon after, he started drifting away. A couple of years later, Lydia found herself pregnant again, this time with their daughter Eve. She hoped this new baby would reignite the closeness they once had. She believed that another child would remind Femi of the love they shared and the family they were building together. But the distance only grew. Femi became more absent, both physically and emotionally. He would come home late, miss family events, and when he was around, he seemed disengaged. Lydia was raising two children almost entirely on her own, while still trying to hold on to the hope that Femi would come back to her fully. But by the time Lydia got pregnant with their third child, Adam, she had already begun to see the truth. Femi had emotionally checked out of the relationship. He was present in name only, and the weight of raising three children fell squarely on Lydia's shoulders. Femi's absence became more obvious with Adam's birth. He stopped coming around as much, and when he did, it was more out of obligation than love. Lydia realized she was fighting a lost battle. She had tried to hold the family together for as long as she could, but Femi was no longer invested in their lives. After Adam's first birthday, Femi left for good. Left with three young children, Lydia had no choice but to become the strong, resilient woman she is today. It wasn't easy. There were nights she cried herself to sleep, wondering how she would manage. But her love for her children kept her going. They became her world, her purpose. She worked hard to provide for them, taking on jobs that allowed her to balance work and parenting. She had to rebuild herself emotionally and mentally after Femi's departure. Trusting others became difficult for Lydia as she has developed a strong sense of independence. While she didn't regret having her children, she often thought about how different her life would have been if Femi had truly committed to their family. Years later, Lydia has accepted her past. She knows she did everything she could for her children and that Femi's abandonment wasn't her fault. Still, the scars remain and she's cautious about letting new people into her life. Dating a single mother is challenging, and Lydia has had to navigate the balance between protecting her children and opening her heart to the possibility of loving again. She wants to believe in love, but she's also wary of repeating the same mistakes. James and Lydia sit across one another, laughing and talking. Their vibe is perfect. She's confident. The conversation is flowing and everything seems to be going smoothly. Lydia glanced at the menu. I will have amala and ewedu with goat's meat. James said, great choice. A woman with a healthy appetite. I like that. Lydia devours the meal and orders more. Jollof rice with chicken this time. James is James is mildly surprised, but he doesn't mind. He's willing to spoil her. After all, she is a queen and more. Sure, a queen's gotta eat, right? But I didn't know the queen was about to run me out of my pocket. The bill comes, it's far beyond what they ordered. James raises his eyebrows and signals the waiter, confused. Excuse me, why is this bill so high? Lydia taps his hand, smiling sweetly. Lydia casually said, oh, I ordered takeaway. I'm breastfeeding. You know, I get hungrier than usual. Takeaway, I didn't see that coming. But she's breastfeeding. I thought her son was already a big boy. After paying the 67K bill and driving her home, James hoped to be invited inside, but Lydia stops him at the door. Lydia with a playful smile. Next time, honey, you will miss my kids properly when the time is right. Kids? I thought she had one child. Not kids, but hey, she gave me that kiss. I forgave the 67,000 naira immediately. What's a little surprise about having two kids? They continued dating for 2 weeks. Everything going well. By then, Lydia's text arrived. Come over and meet my kids. James was excited, prepared for the big moment. He arrived at the house, sprayed on extra cologne, entered with a confident stride. This is it. When a single mom asks you to meet her kids, she knows you are qualified and you should know you have qualified. Tonight is the night. He sits in the living room, waiting. Soon, a small boy around 5 years old runs in, sweating from playing outside, cheerfully. Hey dear, you must be Adam. Adam frowning. My mommy says you have bad body odor. Shocked, checking his armpit. What? I don't smell anything. I bathe 2 times a day. Adam innocently said, but you said what after I told you? Before James could respond, an older child enters the room, is around 9 or 10, and looks unimpressed. James nervously said, hey dear, you must be Eve's brother. Older child loudly said, no, I'm Abel. Is this the uncle who smells like a he-goat? That's it, I'm out. James stands up ready to leave. Lydia enters, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Lydia cheerfully said, oh, you've met Abel and Adam. I told you about them, right? Confused in disbelief. Wait, Abel, I thought you said you had 2 kids, Adam and Eve. Oh, no, silly, Lydia said, laughing. Eve and Abel are from my most recent ex. What in the name of confusion is going on? How many kids does this woman have? James stood up immediately, grabbed his phone, ready to walk out of the door angrily. How many kids do you actually have? Lydia casually said, just 3. There's no big deal. 3 is just, you know what? I'm done. He storms towards the door. Just as he was about to leave, Lydia shouts after him, but the food is ready. It's goat's meat pepper soup. Goat? You dare mention goat? God punish you and your goat's meat. Ashewo. James storms out, slamming the door behind. James enters his car again, driving away from Lydia's house, shaking his head in disbelief. That is how I broke up with a single mother. I thought dating single girls was tough. But single moms, that's on a whole other level. Maybe it's time to try something else like married women. Who knows? I won't give up on love until love gives up. Sometimes, love is a game of trial and error. But for this man, the trials keep getting stranger and the errors keeps piling up.